Hi, friends, and happy Monday. Welcome to the very first episode of what I'm calling for today, live with Lisa, Hendey, and friends. So this is kind of a reboot of my old podcast that I just looked up this morning, has been going on since September 2007, not consecutively, but over the years. I've had lots of conversations with lots of people that I'm thrilled to now call friends, and I've been off the podcasting wagon for just a few years and decided I'm going to jump back in, but I'm going to do it no frills, because part of the thing about podcasting is that the challenging part is not the talking. It's the part that comes after the talking. This is the fun part, hanging out with you and getting to visit with friends and guests and things like that. But the challenging part comes when you do the post-production stuff. So I hesitate to even call it a podcast, because while I'm going to put it out on an audio feed, I won't be doing a lot of the bells and whistles that go along with traditional podcasting. So for right now, you're not going to hear fancy introductions and lots of theme music, and there aren't going to be commercials or anything like that. It's just going to be a couple of friends chatting on a Monday or whatever day it ends up happening to be. So I'm glad if you found your way here and you're watching, that you're with me today. It's Monday of the first week of Advent, and so we're getting our hearts ready for the season of Christmas. And this feels like one of those Advent seasons where you need to fasten your seatbelt and just jump right in, because we don't have very much time between now and Christmas. By today's calendar, we're almost there. So for fun today, I thought what I'd do is bring in a willing victim, and that's my dear friend Morera Johnson, who is the author of an amazing book. Maria's book came out a few months ago. I don't know if you're seeing this backwards or forwards, but Supergirls and Halos is a book that's really close to my heart, and something that I wanted to share with all of you. But I thought, rather than just doing a traditional email interview like I've been doing on my blog lately, Maria is just such a fun and amazing person that I thought it would be really fun to bring her in and to invite her to be a part of the show. And what we've been doing is testing out the features of Facebook Live, which enable us to bring on a guest. So I'm waiting to see Maria's name in my feed to indicate that she's there and that she's ready to be brought in. I see a lot of friends popping in now, like Heidi. Hey, Heidi. And Billy Newton and Rebecca. And I'm waiting to see you, Maria, to see if you're there. So let me see if I can add you. This is part of the fun of live podcasting, right? Is no producer and lots of technology issues. So we'll see. Let's see if we can invite Maria to come on board with us. So the setup right here. Oh, there she is. And let's bring Maria. I just invited you, so hopefully you'll get this invitation. So this is the part that I'm talking about the sort of live in the moment action. So, Maria, are you watching on your cell phone?
I think
there she
I'm there.
is!
Hey!
We did it! Hooray!
Awesome.
Oh, phew! Now I can relax. The top dancing part of the podcast is now over. Let's see.
Awesome.
I wanted to actually pull up on my screen too, so that later on in the show, I'm going to give you guys a chance to actually ask some questions of Maria. So Maria, get ready for that. But if you want to give a question, I'll be watching on my screen down over here to see if we get any comments in with questions. So, hey, Maria, mwah, happy Monday. Why did I schedule this for a Monday morning? What was I thinking?
Hey, listen, it's lunchtime for me, so I've got my little
oh, come on, pass some
gross
coffee over.
little
Do you know, Maria, this is so funny, but you actually are a huge part of my podcasting journey. And I was looking up on my Libsyn account this morning. Do you know that I put out my first podcast in September of 2007?
Wow.
Is that crazy or what?
Wow.
And to think back then when I started podcasting, do you remember the setups that we had? We had microphones and mixers and all this fancy equipment that's still up there in my closet somewhere, but I have no idea how to work any of it anymore. And now I'm going with my iPhone,
with just a phone
Facebook,
and some
and
earbuds.
this. So that's very happy. So how's your advent going?
It's going great. I
Awesome.
started decorating a little bit and, getting some things going. I'm doing, Allison Gingras does a snap advent. So yesterday's challenge was to post a picture of an angel. And I have this great angel.
Did you take a selfie for that?
Do you see the little horns behind here? I think maybe that's the right one. No, but I have this great angel that I found years ago when I was looking for statues to put in my yard. And it's just a pathetic angel that looks like it's vomiting, and it's just he's just and I really wanted to post that, but I thought, no, I can't do that.
Okay, so Steve Nelson
Steve
pops in with the comment, yes, angels, because right here you actually have 2/3 of what we refer to as Steve's angels, with the third angel being our delicious, delightful, bold, beautiful, and bodacious Pat Gone. So
that's right.
We have to figure out a way for Facebook to get 3 faces on the screen at the same time. So where can people see such snaps for Advent? Is it over on Instagram or Snapchat?
It's on Instagram, and I think it's hashtag Snap Advent.
Okay, hashtag Snap Advent. Somebody confirm that in the comments for us.
Yeah.
So awesome. And I'm right in saying today is December 4th, so we're like 3 weeks away from Christmas.
Yeah, it's a short Advent. Whoa.
I know. That's scary, isn't it? I should be. I'm wearing purple today in honor of Advent, but that's.
Oh, really? It's not even cold here. I put on a sweater to be seasonal.
Yeah, tell everybody. You guys. Well, both of us. We've had like these major changes in our lives in the last couple of years. So you're living in this amazing place, and your journey took you south. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we are living on, I love that it's the Bay of the Holy Spirit. We live in Mobile now, south of Mobile, not actually the town proper, and on an island south of there. As in Alabama. And so we have bayfront property, so we sit out on the dock every day, drink our coffee, say a prayer.
I love that. Thank you. You know, I need those prayers. I got to see it like in the early stages after you discovered the property. And I think the last time that I saw it, you had your trailer there and ground was getting broken. And I remember standing out there with you and looking at that magnificent view and imagining all that it would be. So I can't wait to come and actually see what it became. But I love your daily post from the dock and just the sense of serenity there. So this particular project, your newest baby, Supergirls and Halos, it's been out a few months. I'm a little tardy to the book launch party, but it's never too late to tell you about a good book. So I'm going to act as though I didn't know how this book came about. So just tell us. Because
on that great adventure where we were driving through the mud fields.
This is Maria's second book with Ave Maria Press, with the first book being my Badass Book of Saints, which this was so fantastic that everybody clamored immediately for a second book for Maria, which is when we got this book. So tell our friends why this book was so close to your heart, why you wanted to write this particular book.
Well, I think it's really relevant for our times, first of all, because there's so many women are getting featured in a lot of the popular culture right now, and so I think it's important for us to be able to draw attention to the virtues that they have, because so many of them can be over sexualized, especially because it is the superheroes and just the way that they're drawn can be very evocative, and so I just really wanted to talk about that. But really, this book was born 30 years ago when I was taking a women in literature class in college, and I was just unhappy with the selection of women in the course. They were all old. By old, I mean like hundreds of years old. Some of them were young women, but the stories that we were talking about were not contemporary stories. And I thought, we need to talk about some of the contemporary women, and that really just kind of stayed in the back of my mind for so many years until I saw this whole explosion of such popularity for female leads. And as soon as I heard that they were going to be working on Wonder Woman, this was, it takes a couple of years to get a book launched. And so this was a couple of years ago that I had, started to read about, actually, Joss Whedon was going to be writing the script for the Wonder Woman feature film. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is my time now to finally say what I wanted to say 30 years ago, plus in my faith journey, to look at it through a Catholic lens. And so I tied my conversation together with the virtues and with real superheroes, which are the saints.
Yeah, I love that. Well, first of all, let me say for all the guys out there who might be like, this book has the word girls in the title. Let me just say that we're hoping, I secretly hope that there'll be a second follow-up to this, but that really anyone who needs to grow in the what we call the cardinal virtues, this is a book for you. And for many reasons, I think men actually in this age should be reading this book as well. So don't let the fact that this is superheroines keep you, if you're a man, from diving into this, especially if you're someone who loves popular culture and who loves Maria as much as I do. I think guys out there who are listening that know Maria will know that her work transcends. A lot of what we talk about in this book is the feminine genius, but we're in an age where men need to understand that. And without getting political in any aspect, I'll just say that I think this is a great book for anyone. So those cardinal virtues, what are the 4 cardinal virtues? Baltimore Catechism time.
Oh, gosh. I'm on the spot. I need to cheat with the book. Prudence, fortitude, justice. Prudence, fortitude, justice, and temperance. I have to say them fast, and I have to say them in the order that I learned it.
I know. So it's interesting, like when you set up to frame a book, when we were having early conversations, I got to kind of daydream about this book early on with Maria. And I think we were originally calling it Beyond the Cape, which I love because of what you talk about in the introduction. So say a few words just about that concept of setting the cape to the side when you're a superhero.
Oh, yeah.
Where that comes from.
It comes from The Incredibles, and I'm so excited that... Have you seen the trailer for The Incredibles 2?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. So Edna Mode was always my favorite. And remember when Mr. Incredible goes in to get his new super suit, he wanted a cape, and she was like, no capes! And and then proceeded to tell him all the heroes who'd had their capes caught in machinery and whatnot and ruined them. And so, I thought, gee, if it's the capes and the superheroes that really hold them back and hold them down because they're dangerous, then, those are the things in our lives that hold us back. We could put a nice, simple little 3-letter word to it, sin, and that's really what the capes are in our lives that hold us back. But so many other things, negative thinking. This idea that somehow we can't be holy or we can't be a saint. Come on, we were made to be saints. We're all saints in the making. And so we need to get rid of these capes. We need to get rid of these things that keep us from pursuing these lives of holiness.
I love how in the book what you do is you couple someone from that popular culture, either a movie or great literature, even comics, great TV shows, with Catholic saints. And for folks out there who might be watching that aren't Catholic, a book like this kind of helps you maybe to understand a little bit about the fact that when we share our faith as Catholics, our devotion to saints is not thinking that they're godlike, that they have, superpower heroes such as God has, but that they live these lives of great sanctity that help them to overcome kind of real world difficulties and circumstances. So how'd you come up with the pairings in the book? Did you start with the superheroines first?
I started with the supers. Yeah, I started with the supers. And but I say this a little bit tongue in cheek, but I really think that the saints kind of chased me a little bit, and they said, "Hey, we want to be in your book," because some of the pairings they didn't make any sense to me. Like, for example, in the section on justice, where I'm talking about Wonder Woman and I'm talking about Rey from The Last Jedi now, it comes out this week, I paired Rey with Saint Clare of Assisi, and I thought, why did Saint Clare? Where's that coming from? and literally, her holy card fell out of this. Catholics and our trading cards are not baseball players. They're it's holy cards with saints on them, and she, I don't know why she was there, and I picked it up and I thought, hey, Saint Clare, okay, hello, I don't know what this is about, and I put it away, but she stayed in my mind, and I thought about it for a while, and I thought, we forget that yes, justice is what Wonder Woman fights for, which is good versus evil and putting away the bad guys. And I pair Wonder Woman with St. Catherine Drexel, who had a great lifetime commitment to the social justice of educating African American and Native American peoples. So that was easy. And Rey, sure, she's also seeking justice in the galaxy, right? And then here we have St. Clare of Assisi. How does she fit? She was a contemplative. She lived in a monastery. She was in a convent behind walls. And I thought, well, because that element of justice we forget to talk about, which is the justice that we owe God. We owe him our praise and our worship. And St. Clare exemplified that in the story that I tell in the book, which is at the end of her life, she was on her sickbed, and the Saracens were invading Assisi, and they were actually at the convent gates, bringing down the walls. And the sisters came to her and said, help. And she says, I can't do anything about it, but I will bring in the big guns.
She invoked her superpowers.
She invoked her superpower, which is the supreme power. She went and took, and I don't know, I've read so many different cases of it that, was it a monstrance? Was it the tabernacle? But she went to the monastery walls and she brought Jesus to the forefront. And the Saracens backed away and they left. But not only spared the convent, but spared the town. So,
when are we going to make that movie, Maria?
What an epic movie!
I know.
I so want to go back to Italy, and I so want to go to Rome as a faithful Catholic now. The first time I was there 30-something years ago, I was there as a happy pagan, looking to the sights and not really realizing where I was walking.
So if you're just tuning in, because we're on Facebook Live, this is a reboot of my podcast, and we're using this great technology to visit with my friend Maria Johnson, who is the author of a fantastic book called Supergirls and Halos. And this is a great time for me to tell you that if you have a burning question for Maria, the ability for you to pop into our Facebook and leave a comment. And in a few minutes, I'm going to be glancing down at my computer and seeing if I can find any of your questions for Maria for her to answer. But in the meantime, I'm giving her my own questions. I just saw our friend Steve Nelson tell us he's going to plan a trip. And Steve, I'll go on that trip. That sounds awesome. How about a Supergirls and Halos pilgrimage with Steve's Angels? Does that sound awesome or what?
That would be so fun.
We have to go to Australia, to Assisi, all over the place. So Maria, in Supergirls and Halos, like, I love the whole book, but one of the parts that really speaks to me, perhaps because of my frequent trips to confession relating to the lack of this particular cardinal virtue, is the section on temperance. And in Temperance, you wrote about, in one of the chapters, you wrote about Katniss Everdeen and St. Mary MacKillop. And there's a line in here that I just wanted to read to everyone, because I think it kind of comes to they're really the heart of why this book works so well and why these pairings are so significant. Maria says in this chapter, it's a chapter on champions of caring and compassion. And she says, good literature should prod us a little and provide opportunities for reflections about ourselves, our values, the things that we can learn from these fictional characters. And it's interesting to look at Katniss and St. Mary MacKillop, women who kind of had these incredible obstacles to overcome, and to look in my own struggles with this virtue of temperance. and really wanting to be somebody who uses any gifts that I have to make our world a better place. Where did these two get paired together, and why are they so significant to you?
Well, sometimes when we use the word temperance, sometimes we think about maybe chastity or drinking, anything that is excess. But it's so much about self-control, and I really was close to the characters and to the saints in this section because where I need to control myself is my mouth. Boy, I can shoot it off in a second. And it has been. Are you surprised?
Okay, I love that you just said that.
And I just, sometimes there's no filter. As I've gotten older, I've learned to temper, some of what I say. But, that's really a big failing for me. And so this whole issue of self-control is really at the forefront of these two characters. Now, Katniss, to me, in the whole literary piece, in the trilogy, was a disappointment to me at the end. Because she acted, I thought, in the way that was satisfying to her instead of what was the right thing to do. And,
spoiler alert.
I don't know. It's been out so long.
I know.
If you haven't seen it or read it, I have no. I'm sorry. Here's my lack of temperance. I don't care. So I thought that she was a great example because in her hunting, if you will. She had to wait. She had to wait and exhibit a lot of patience before she could act. But really, the fascinating story here is St. Mary of the Cross, Mary MacKillop. And she was a saint that kind of fell into my lap because I discovered her really deeply on vacation in Scotland less than a month before the book was due. So... So she was that's the last
for the
chapter
publisher
I wrote.
who may be watching right now, she wasn't procrastinating. She was just waiting for divine inspiration.
It was just the last chapter that I was working on, and Saint Mary's story is so amazing because she's in this wilderness in the outback in Australia, and her spiritual director really is encouraging her to found an order of nuns to serve education, but he wanted it uniquely Australian. And so here's Mary MacKillop, and she's a spitfire, and she gets it done, and manages to mess up some relationships. And the one of the bishops was very upset with her, and bottom line. He wanted her to live in a convent, and she believed that the order's charism was living among the people that she was teaching, that they were teaching. So she ended up excommunicated, and she took it. She took it well. He excommunicated her. She said yes and walked out, and did not cause a scene, and did not try to talk to him. Did not send anyone after. She just let that lie. And
that was actually, I'm going to say that her following at that point was very large, and that she had the potential to create great waves. So I think her temperance and not kind of like engaging in egotism that maybe would keep her from, creating a big explosion in her community and possibly risking the faith lives of many, many people.
And probably, and I'm sure that she thought about all of those things. Or the Holy Spirit, maybe. I say that sometimes the Holy Spirit comes in and just clamps my mouth so I can't say things. and certainly that probably was such a case. And it only lasted a few months, and I think that it was on his deathbed that the bishop rescinded the excommunication. But it kind of stuck with her too.
And she went on to be Australia's not only first female saint, but first saint.
That's right.
A real superhero.
Right. She's a great, inspiring story, and close to my heart because I'm a teacher. So that was also something that was very, very special to me.
So if you're just tuning in here on Facebook Live, I'm Lisa Hendey. We have no lower thirds here, so I'll just say I'm Lisa Hendey. And with me is my dear friend Maria Morera Johnson, author of this amazing book, Supergirls and Halos. This is a new selection from Ave Maria Press, and people might be wondering where you can get a hold of this. Maria, where's the best place to pick up Supergirls and Halos?
Well, Ave is having a fantastic sale this week. So I think today, if you use the Joy 17, what is it? I'll look it up. It's I think it's Joy 17 password. You can get free shipping if you get it at AveMariaPress.com. And Friday, all the books are going to be on sale for $10, and mine's one of those titles. So that's a great way to get it. You can go to Amazon if you want your free shipping.
Yeah, and if you're somebody who's lucky enough to have a Catholic bookstore in your neighborhood, definitely go in there. If they don't have it, then ask them to pick it up for you. And I just want to give a shout out to all our Catholic bookstore owning friends, because any author of a book like this will tell you that writing the book is half the challenge, and the second half is sharing the good news about the book. So our friends that run bookstores do so much to support us. It makes me want to say one thing, which is, Maria, speaking of superheroines, do you know, for the very first time, the Daughters of St. Paul, our friends, the Paulines, they're bringing their Christmas singing and dancing show to Los Angeles. So I know, I'm so excited. So it's like, you know, that movie Sister Act that was on a few years ago, like way back, when was that, in like the 90s or something, with like Whoopi Goldberg?
Too long ago to really...
I know, but it's just like that, only with Christmas. How awesome is that? So
I think they're going to New Orleans too, actually.
They're on like a big tour, but it's a big deal that they're coming to LA, and they have 2 nights here. And I'm going to be going on December 15th with some girlfriends of mine. If you're watching Facebook Live and you live in the LA area, I know you should be. You should be. And even if you don't live in LA, you should drive here just to see the Daughters of St. Paul singing and dancing and doing Christmas tunes. It's going to be so awesome. So let's see.
Pete Sox says a few years ago.
Time flies.
Like 30 years ago.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you about, for Supergirls and Halos, what's your favorite, like what was the chapter that you had the most fun writing in this?
Oh, well, see, that's a good question, because that's not what I thought you were going to ask me. I thought you were going to ask me which was my favorite hero. The most fun that I had writing, I think I have to say, I don't know. I love them all. Which one did I have the most fun writing? I think I loved writing about Lieutenant Uhura, who was my first hero. And I paired her with Saint Kateri.
Would you call that your favorite chapter too, or?
I think my favorite chapter is the one with Dana Scully and Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross, and that's because that was actually the most personal chapter in the book, because it's about my own faith journey. I faded away from the faith in my 20s and early 30s, and when the X-Files came on, I was already pretty actively moving back towards communion with the church again, and so a lot of the things that Dana Scully experienced resonated with me, and so I think that was the most personal chapter. It was not an easy chapter to write, but it was, I think, authentic.
Do you find that? I think one of the things that when I've written some chapters like that in past books of mine that are really personal, that there's sort of this like, first of all, not wanting to go there. And then once you finally get yourself to the space where you can kind of unburden a little bit and share some stuff, then there's this process that happens in editing where you and your editor pass a manuscript back and forth a few times. And I remember with The Grace of Yes, which has some personal stuff in it, that the last time that I knew I was going to see the manuscript before I let it go, before it became words on a page that I could not just hit delete on the internet. That there was really a lot of prayer about, oh, did I really want to go there? And have you gone through that?
I have, yeah, and more so I think with my Badass Book of Saints and the chapter that I read about my husband's illness. But you're so awesome.
I keep it really close by.
But I had a friend who passed away a few years ago, his name was Jeff, and he was a writer, he was a journalist. And I was sharing with him, and this is 15 years ago. This is even before I was actually blogging. And he says, if you're going to write, then you need to tell the truth, and you can't let the truth keep you from writing. You can't be afraid of the truth. And I always kept those words close to my heart, because what's the purpose? What's the point of my having a platform where I can share some of these things, and then I'm not going to be truthful about everything? That doesn't mean that I have to reveal everything, but what I am talking
selectively about. Praying for discernment. I'll say for me, and I bet you found this when you go out to do retreats or speak at women's conferences, that those things that were often the hardest for me to put into writing are the things that when people come up to you with a book that's been well highlighted and underlined, and they say, this really meant a lot to me. Oftentimes it's those things that were so tough to put down on the page, that when we reveal those aspects, it's interesting. And I'll just say, part of the reason for the reboot of the podcast and kind of looking to rename it a little bit is that I think we're reaching through social media a lot of people that are on that part of their faith journey that really just need somebody to walk alongside them no matter where they are. And so I think there's so much great stuff out there in the Catholic realm that's specifically catechetical and, really kind of uniquely Catholic. But what I'd like to do with whatever it is that I'm doing here with the show is to try to kind of throw open the doors a little bit and just be a friend to whoever comes along wherever they are in their faith journey. I feel like that there's a lot of kind of misunderstandings about our church and also just people who have really important questions. I certainly have a lot of those myself. And so, looking to just be a companion to people on social media for where they are in their faith walk. So if you're not comfortable leaving a comment, please liberally use the direct message feature on Facebook and share with me, what it is that I can be praying for with you, or what your questions are, or how I can walk with you. I promise you I will not have all the answers to the questions, but that I'll walk alongside you while we try to find them. And I think, Maria, you live in a space like in the work that you do where that's actually a lot of kind of your interaction with people too. You certainly have a strong faith community around you, but also a lot of people who aren't active in church circles. How do you kind of explain what it is that you do to people like that?
Well, we just have to live the faith. We have to live what we believe, and that pulls so much. I don't know. I don't want to sound new agey, but energy. And maybe it's the Holy Spirit working through us. But I retired last year from working full time in secular education, higher education, and I find myself back in as an adjunct, teaching a couple of classes here and there. And I've always worked in the public sector, and it's hard. It's hard because sometimes we're at odds with our faith and what we're being asked to do and or support, and so all I could ever do was just go to work to love people, and it really just you can't go wrong with that, I think.
Yeah, and you do a lot right. So again, if you're just tuning in, because I know we're getting people every couple of minutes here on Facebook Live, oop, that's the wrong book, but you should read this one too. My guest is my dear
sale for
friend.
$2.
Actually, just get both of them. Get both of them, right? My guest is my dear friend Maria Johnson, and she is the author of this fabulous new book out from Ave Maria Press, Super Girls and Halos. And this week, during the first week of Advent, we have just some great specials going on over at Ave Maria Press. So go to avemariapress.com to pick up this book and lots of other ones that are on good sale this week. I'll just share that the reason that you find a lot of Catholic authors going on podcasts and doing blog tours and all this is that getting the word out about a book in today's day and age can be really challenging. I think I shared with Maria that the sense that, wow, is anyone really even reading books anymore? I've had experiences a lot of times of being in airports where, Maria, didn't it used to be that when you go to the airport, you'd see people like reading a novel, like John Grisham
but everybody's
or Harry
stuck
Potter
on their phone now playing weird games.
Yeah. So, and I mean, if you really want to read Maria's book on your phone, you can, because there's a Kindle version of it. But there's something really special about being able to take a book like this and highlight it and stick little flaggy things in it and just kind of make it your own. And so, really consider if you've got a gift list to fill this Christmas, maybe putting a couple books in there. And certainly for anyone, but especially for women and young women, Supergirls and Halos is an awesome gift idea. So I want to ask anyone if they have a question for Maria. So you have a couple minutes if you're watching to leave a question in the comm box. If there's something that you would like to ask Maria about, let me know and stick a comment there. In the meantime, Maria, what is going on? What are you working on these days? Like, what comes next? Because a book like this has been in the works for 18 months. So you're already on to whatever your next set of projects are. So what's going on, dude?
I've got some ideas, but they're all in the idea phase. Actually, I am. You know what I've done? I've resuscitated this novel that I was working on for, I don't know, it's been like a decade.
Okay. Are you allowed to tell any of it?
Of the novel? It's just a novel. It's an adventure. No, it's a story about redemption. We'll leave it there. I don't know. I'm not superstitious or anything, but I find that when I talk about a project, it like does that happen to you? I mean, as a writer, not writer to writer. If you talk too much about it, then you kind of lose interest in it.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, but sometimes I need to kind of float it out there a little bit. I've been reading this book. Well, I'm gonna cause vertigo on Facebook for just a second while I grab this book over here. Oh my gosh, my office is filled up with books, but I've been reading this. Do you know this book, Maria?
Save the Cat.
Yeah, the last book on screenwriting that you'll ever need. So, I live in the LA now, so I have to keep up with all the Uber drivers.
Wait a minute.
In LA, when you take an Uber, usually they're... No. But actually,
I don't know. I'm going to read all kinds of things into you reading scripts. I used to write scripts 100 years ago. I see Greg Willits is watching.
You do. Hey, Greg. So actually, the reason that I'm reading this book is it was recommended to me by one of my friends who writes great Catholic young adult fiction. And when I was at the Catholic Writers Guild conference last summer, she recommended this for people who are working on fiction. And so I've been reading this book because it has, if you live in LA for very long, then suddenly all of a sudden you start thinking about daydreams of, well, I could make a movie that's better than that one. So, but that's not why I'm reading it. But stay tuned.
Lies.
No, I wonder. But one of the things that the author of this book talks about is writing log lines and then kind of floating out your idea. So if you can't, in about 2 lines or less, catch the interest of somebody in your story, should it really be something that you're writing? And so I've been kind of testing 2 ideas that I have for adult fiction. And so I'm kind of working on my elevator pitch of that 2-line thing. And it's interesting because he says in the book, I say it to everybody, like somebody in line at Starbucks or somebody who's stuck in the elevator with me or whatever. I'm not quite going that far, but I am kind of playing around with a couple of ideas. But it's a different kind of voice, right? Writing fiction.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's very different. It's hard. Well, I don't know. Let me take that back. One of the funny things that happens to me, look, Steve has a question. One of the funny things that happens to me when I'm writing fiction is that I step away from the keyboard and the characters take up space in my brain, and then they go on and they have their own conversations, and entire scenes play out in my brain when I'm driving or when I'm trying to get to sleep. And then I think, I should get up and write it. Lost. because the next day,
Actually,
should have
or
written
when
it
you
down.
are sleeping, I usually, if I'm working on a project like that, always have a notebook next to my bed. When I was writing Time Travelers, I would be under the covers at night with my cell phone, like propped up as a flashlight, like writing so that I didn't wake Greg up. Because honestly, sometimes like entire lines of dialogue or conversations
They
go
just pop
on.
in. They just pop right into your head.
A great movie that's out right now called The Man Who Invented Christmas. It's about Charles Dickens and the writing of A Christmas Carol. And I reviewed that movie on my blog. But I love the actor who's in it. I can't remember his name, but he's Matthew in Downton Abbey. Super hunky British guy. And
The Beast.
Yeah, the Beast. What's his name? Daniel. I don't know. Somebody
Whatever.
say it. But anyway, he's super awesome as Charles Dickens. But his characters are all around him, talking to him while he's trying to write. It's like, oh my gosh, that's so. And anyone who writes fiction has been there. So Steve posted a question on Facebook. If you'd like to leave a question for Maria in the time that we have left, you can come on over to the Facebook com box and just leave a question there. So Steve's question was, have you discovered any saints that are good examples for evangelizing young adults?
Saints for evangelizing.
While you're thinking about that, I'll just say
Saint Philip Neri. If that's an easy one.
Hold on to that thought for a minute,
All right.
and think about a few more, because I want to say this, that it's really interesting that I think this is a big thing in the church right now. Everybody's talking about, why are young adults spiritual but not religious, and and it's like everybody is searching around. Everybody our age is searching around about how to find answers to young adults, and they have so many answers. We just need to listen to them. So, Maria, what do you have to say about that?
I was just reading Paula Perry's question, so
go back to Steve Nelson's question. And just in case you're just diving in, because we're getting new viewers all the time, it's Lisa Hendey with my dear friend Maria Johnson, author of the awesome book Supergirls and Halos. So let's see. Go back to Steve's question, and then you can answer Paula's question.
I don't know. I totally drew a blank.
So you said St. Philip Neri. That was your first reaction.
Oh, yeah.
About
yeah,
who's somebody for young adults.
I think so.
What do you have to
and
say
I can't
about
remember.
him?
I just think that he has a sense of humor, so he can talk to people. I think that the best way to reach young people is to be natural, and to be, not that we have to get down on their level, which is a stupid thing to say, but that we need to understand how to be relational across the generations. And I think that it's something that we've forgotten in our in our day. I don't know why people just don't talk to each other, and I think that Philip Neri could talk to people, because he would first be a little self-deprecating, and if you can laugh at yourself and put other people at ease, then that's a good way to begin to have a conversation with folks. But there's another saint, and I've forgotten his name. Maybe he's a blessed. The soccer player, the young man who do you know who I'm talking about? You're making my brain explode.
John Paul II was a soccer player, but I know no. Somebody's going to put it in the comments.
I'm sure that they will. But really, any of the saints are interesting people. For new evangelization, I mean, Our Lady of Guadalupe, believe it or not, is I write about her at the end of the Supergirls book, because she's the patroness of the new evangelization. Yeah, I could only be a mom. That's what I know how to do. So a mom and a teacher. So that's what So I reach out with love, and that's the way that I evangelize. There it is. It's Blessed Giorgio Frassati. I think that he's a good one.
10 points for the woman whose last name no one can pronounce. My lovely Barb Shashkevitz. You're the best, Barb. So Paula asked a question that's actually a little more, maybe more challenging, which is, which female saint can help me to find my way out of feeling lost and sad, to help me pick myself up and live my best life ever? So how would you respond to that very challenging question, Maria?
I think with Saint Mary MacKillop. she was in a sad place for a lot of her life. She grew up in a very poor family with a lot of the kind of drama that comes with poverty, and she looked for a way out and worked toward that. And I think that she's a good model for that. St. Mary McGill.
Yeah, I think she's a great one. And I just, as a personal note to my dear Paula, because I know you, and I want to send a virtual hug across the miles and just say, I know your heart. And I think we all kind of go through periods where we have, maybe challenges in our lives. I think this particular season of Advent and Christmas can be one that is really challenging for a lot of people, that we look around us and see everybody else doing, sending the perfect Christmas card or having the perfect decorations posted on Facebook. And maybe we wonder if there's something missing in our own life. And maybe especially for people who are single at this time of the year, there can be big challenges. It's a reminder to me to really reach out to friends that don't have a lot of family around them, and to welcome them in. Paula, I know your heart. And the one person that I turn to when I'm kind of going through those moments in my life is Mother Teresa. To read her writings on, her own kind of dark night of the soul and spiritual challenges, and to know what she walked into every day of her life, the poverty and the despair that was all around her, and how that woman just kept going through spiritual trials and physical trials, and just, all she did. I think she's a great one to have on speed dial too. So.
Yeah, and one of the things about, I think that stand out from St. Teresa of Calcutta is that she said that the commitment is the thing. This isn't about what you're feeling it. It's about the commitment to say, today I'm going to do this, today I'm going to feel this way, or today I'm going to respond in this way to these challenges. So she's a great one. And, I think I saw Heidi was maybe in the chat room. She's got a great Advent book about St. Teresa of Calcutta, if she's still around.
Oh, I should go on my bookshelf.
It's on my bookshelf. It's in another room.
I'm tethered.
But it's great for
by
Advent.
this. I've got this set up here on this.
Heidi, what's the name of your book?
Yeah, I would have to pick my tripod up and carry it over there to my bookcase. Maria, do you know? I will just leave this as a little teaser, just because I love you so much, Maria, that I have actually 3 books in the Johnson section of my bookcase, and there was a very slim one right in between it that I did not bring up for the podcast.
It's called Advent with St. Teresa of Calcutta.
Yeah, that's not the book that I'm talking about.
No, you're talking about, what do I call it? Things my mother never told me. Is that what I call it? What's the title of it?
Is that available?
It's on Lulu. Yeah, you can buy it.
Is it?
Yeah, okay. You can buy it on Lulu.
My goodness. I should have brought it down. I love that book.
Things my mother never told me. It's about menopause. Where's Steve Nelson to pass out right now?
Steve Nelson is now blushing in the call box.
Whatever.
Heidi's book, Advent with St. Teresa of Calcutta, is excellent. And that's a big one that you can get a hold of. Just go to Amazon and get it. I'm positive it's over there. And it's a great, great resource for anyone. Steve Nelson now thinks that we're scandalous. Maria,
whatever.
I know, whatevs. Come on,
whatevs.
Steve. So I could talk to you all day, but I'm not going to, for the sake of the fact that people actually have real work to do, perhaps, and things like that. But I just want to say thank you for writing Supergirls and Halos, readily available at avemariapress.com today for free shipping, or anytime at your local Catholic bookstore, Amazon, or Barnes & Noble. So for you, leading up to Christmas, what are your hopes for the next couple weeks?
I just want to get the house ready. I finished Christmas shopping, and
what?
Yeah, I finished
Nice.
Christmas shopping. Isn't that sick? I don't even know how it happened. It must
When
be
did you?
retirement. When did I start? Last
Yeah.
week. Last week.
Wow, hardcore. That's awesome.
Hardcore. I'm going to get some Christmas cards out of the mail this week, and then I'm done. But I still use your pretty little book, the with the O antiphons.
Oh, Radiant Dawn.
Yes. Oh,
Which
Radiant
sadly
Dawn.
just went out of print this year.
Really?
So it's now a collectible. So hold on to
Oh, John and I love it because when the kids were a little younger, that they had no interest in the longer selection, we just read the short little prayer at the end. But now he has to listen to me every evening. We started last night. So
that's beautiful. Well, I want to say thank you for being a willing victim of this first experiment. So for everybody that's watching, or if you're listening, if you could give me some feedback and let me know if you think this format works for you, what you enjoyed about it, what you'd like to see next time. I'll tell you, as I said at the very beginning, that I'm going to keep this very low frills. That it's not going to be overly produced because I just don't have time to do it. My goal is to kind of get together about once a week with a friend here on Facebook and to chat and visit in this way and to involve you in it. When I get more kind of courageous about using the system on Facebook, we have a way to bring people in to ask their questions. So we'll do that. And, just to kind of play around with this and get some content out there. So if you enjoyed it, let me know. And if you didn't, you can let me know that too. Although then I'll probably have to go to confession.
Everybody loves Lisa.
So no. We know that you have choices for your podcast listening and we want you to enjoy it. No, but anyway, the goal here is just to kind of use this format to have fun conversations and to maybe bring some good books and other resources to your attention. I'm going to be going on some adventures in the next couple months, so I'm going to be using this format to take you along on those. So fingers crossed, there'll be some exciting things coming on. And Maria, where can people find you on social media if they're not already connected with you?
At Bego, BEGO on Twitter. And I think I'm Bego Johnson on, I've had it for so long. Instagram? Yeah, I think I'm Bego Johnson, or find me as Maria Johnson. And Facebook is Maria Morera Johnson.
Yeah, and in theory, I'm going to have show notes for this when I put it up on my blog. So I'll make sure that I have all those links over there at lisahendey.com. lisahendey.com. And you can find me on social media at Lisa Hendey. Obviously, you've already found me this one time if you're watching.
Hello. Hey, can I give a shout out to somebody on your show?
100%. And where's Where's the
I think my sister-in-law. What?
Oh, really?
I think my sister-in-law is still watching. Happy birthday, Pat. So that's it. That's all. I saw her name pop up.
Happy birthday, Pat. And to Christy Buckley, we're sorry that you're sick on the couch, and we hope that you feel better very soon. To everybody else that's been watching, that's our friends, we love you so much, and we'll do it again soon. So God bless everybody. And Maria, I love you.
I love you right
for
back,
everything,
honey.
my dear. And I'll see you hopefully very soon. God bless everyone. Have a great first week of Advent. Bye.